So, hello and welcome to this morning's Power Flow. With this flow, we're looking at to increase our heart rates and move our bodies in a faster way than a traditional hatha or a yin yoga class. So, if at any point in time you feel you need to stop and take a breath, please do so. So, you can either stop in child's pose or just come back to a seated position or remain standing. So, today we're going to start by walking our feet out in front. So we're going to sit up nice and tall. So we're going to engage the hip flexors. And we're just going to start to bend through the knees and through the ankles. So you can gently massage the legs if you like. Just starting to notice how the body is feeling today. Taking in a few deep breaths, in through the nose and out through the mouth. Some nice big shoulder rolls. And then we're going to slowly straighten through both legs, pulling the toes back towards us. Inhale the hands up to the ceiling, reaching up nice and tall, holding here. So you'll start to feel the hip flexors engage here. You might start to feel it through the shoulders. Taking a deep breath in and exhale, folding forward. So reaching for the toes. If you can't reach the toes, just holding onto the shins. Keep pushing that belly button down towards the thighs because we're really wanting to bend through the hips. Taking a couple of deep breaths here. With each out breath, actively stretching forward, reaching a little bit further. You might like to tuck the chin to the chest. Taking in one more breath. And then inhaling the hands back up to the ceiling and holding here for a breath. We're going to place the hands behind the hips, so fingers facing away from the body, thumbs facing out to the left and right. We're going to press into the heels, lift the hips up to the ceiling, point the toes. You can drop the head back into reverse plank. Deep breath in, squeezing the glutes. And exhale, lowering the hips back down to the mat. And then inhaling the hands up to the ceiling. Holding here. Deep breath in, and as you exhale, folding forward, reaching for the toes. 2 breaths here, really engaging the body, stretching further forward with each out breath. Taking this opportunity to connect to the body, to drop out of the head, to be where your feet are. Inhaling the hands back up to the ceiling, reaching up nice and tall. Placing the hands behind the hips, pressing into the heels, lift the hips up to the ceiling, dropping the head. Taking a breath here, squeezing the glutes. And exhale, lowering the hips back down to the mat. And inhaling the hands up to the ceiling one more time. Deep breath in. And exhale, folding forward. Folding a little deeper this time. One more breath here. And then inhaling the hands up to the ceiling, taking a breath. Hands behind the hips, pressing into the heels, lift the hips up to the ceiling, dropping the head. Taking a breath, feeling the body as it engages. And exhale, lowering back down, sitting up nice and tall. We're going to fold through the legs and then coming over onto hands and knees, shifting your weight forward. Coming back to the center of the mat, we're going to find tabletop. So making sure that the wrists are underneath the shoulders, knees are underneath the hips. We're going to move through breaths of cat-cow. So as we breathe in, we're going to drop the belly down to the mat, arching through the back, lifting up through the crown of the head. And exhale, belly button to the spine, tucking the tailbone, tucking the chin to the chest, and dropping the crown of the head down to the mat. And inhale, dropping the belly. Exhale, belly button to the spine. Feel the body move with the breath. Starting to follow your breath here. Three more breaths here. You might like to start exploring moving from side to side, forwards and back as you breathe in and breathe out. Feeling the shoulders, feeling the hips, connecting the sensations to the body. Feeling any tightness. One more breath. And then coming back to a neutral spine. We're going to tuck the toes, lift the hips up to the ceiling into the downward dog. So as we stay here, we want to spread the fingertips nice and wide. We want to start sinking down into the heels so you can bend and straighten through the knees, through the ankles. Walking the feet, stretching through the backs of the legs. You want the head to rest between the arms. If the hamstrings are really tight, keeping the knees bent so that you can really push that upper body forward. We don't want the head to remain out here. We want to make sure that it's pushed down between the arms. From here, we're going to bend through both knees, hovering them above the mat. Straighten through both legs and sink down into the heels. Again, bending through the knees, hovering them above the mat, straightening and sinking down into the heels. One more time, down, straightening and sinking down into the heels. Walking the feet out to the left and right edges of the mat. We're going to take the left hand to the right foot and the right hand to the left foot, and we're just going to alternate tapping here. Starting to shift the weight from shoulder to shoulder. Starting to get a slight twist through the spine. Continue alternating. One more. And then back to downward dog. We're going to slowly walk the hands towards the feet, coming into a forward fold. So if the hamstrings are tight, keeping the knees bent, but really allowing that upper body to hang from the lower body, to hang from the hips. Taking a breath here, folding a little deeper, feeling the hamstrings as they stretch. And then we're going to inhale, halfway lift. So we're going to lift the spine until it's parallel with the floor. You can place the hands onto the shins, or if you can leave the fingertips on the mat. Exhale, folding forward. Bending through the knees, we're going to inhale the hands up to the ceiling, placing the hands together and lowering them down to the heart center. Taking a breath, releasing the hands and just giving the shoulders a nice big roll. And then inhaling the hands up to the ceiling and exhale, folding forward. We're going to walk the hands out now back to downward dog. sinking back into the heels. And then we're going to step the right foot to the right hand, left foot to the left hand. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Bending through the knees, inhaling the hands up to the ceiling. Placing the palms together, lowering down to the heart center. Releasing the hands, rolling the shoulders. And then inhaling the hands up to the ceiling. Exhale, folding forward. Stepping the right foot back, left foot back into downward dog. Pressing the shoulders forward, sinking down into the heels. Walking the hands back towards the feet. Into a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Bending through the knees, inhaling the hands up to the ceiling. Palms together, lowering down to the heart center. Releasing the hands, rolling the shoulders. And then inhaling the hands up to the ceiling. Exhale, folding forward. Walking the hands out to downward dog. Taking a deep breath in. And as you exhale, stepping the left foot to the left hand, right foot to the right hand. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Bending through the knees, inhaling the hands up to the ceiling. Placing the palms together, lowering down to the heart center. Releasing the hands, taking a breath, rolling the shoulders. Big shoulder rolls. And then inhaling the hands up to the ceiling and exhale, folding forward. Stepping the left foot back, right foot back into downward dog. Sinking the chest forward. Bending through the knees, hovering them above the mat. Inhale, straightening and sinking down into the heels. Bending through the knees, straightening, sinking down into the heels. One more time, bending through the knees, straightening and sinking down into the heels. Stepping the right foot between the hands. So pressing forward here, staying up on the left toes. We're going to inhale the hands up to the ceiling into a high lunge. Taking a breath here and holding. We're going to drop the left heel down to the mat into warrior one. Placing the palms together, turning to the long angle of the mat, floating the hands down to warrior two. Looking towards the right palm, straight arms. Taking the right palm up to the ceiling, inhale, lifting it up, placing the left hand on the left leg. Cartwheeling the arms, placing the right elbow on the right knee, reaching over with the left fingertips. Looking up towards the ceiling. And then cartwheeling the arms back to warrior two. We're now going to twist, helicoptering the arms so that the left hand is in front, the right hand is behind, and we're going to come up onto the left toes. Taking the left hand up to the ceiling, inhaling it up, placing the right hand on the left leg. Cartwheeling the arms back to warrior two. Taking the right hand to the front of the room and inhaling up to a high lunge. Exhale, folding forward. Stepping the left foot forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Bending through the knees, inhaling the hands up to the ceiling. Palms together, lowering down to the heart center. Releasing the hands, rolling the shoulders. You might like to give the legs a little shake as well. And then inhaling the hands up to the ceiling. Exhale, folding forward. Stepping the right foot back, left foot back into downward dog. Sinking the chest forward here. We're going to hover the knees above the mat, straighten and sink down into the heels. Bending, straightening and sinking. One more time. And then stepping the left foot between the hands. Stepping into the left foot, inhaling the hands up to the ceiling into a high lunge. Bending into that front knee. Dropping the right heel down to the mat into warrior one. Placing the palms together, turning to the long angle of the mat, floating the hands down into warrior two. Looking towards the left fingertips. Turning the hand to face the ceiling, inhaling up and over. Cartwheeling the arms, placing the left elbow onto the left knee, reaching over with the right fingertips. Stretching long. And then cartwheeling the arms back to warrior two. We're then going to come up on the right toes, spin the arms around, right hand at the front, left hand at the back. Taking the right palm up to the ceiling, inhaling it up, placing the left hand onto the right leg. Feeling a nice twist and a back bend here. Floating the arms back to warrior two and taking the left hand to the front and back up to a high lunge. Deep breath in, and as you exhale, placing the hands back down onto the mat and stepping the right foot forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Bending through the knees, inhaling the hands up to the ceiling. Palms together, lowering down to the heart center. Releasing the hands, rolling the shoulders, shaking the legs. Taking a breath. Inhaling the hands back up to the ceiling. Exhale, folding forward. Stepping the left foot back, right foot back into downward dog. Sinking down, pressing the chest forward. Walking the feet back out to the left and right edges of the mat. Taking the right hand to the left foot and back, and left hand to the right foot and back. Alternating here. Twisting through the spine. Reaching with the hands. One more on each side. And then slowly dropping the knees back down to the mat. Walking them out to the left and right edges, joining the big toes together and sinking down into child's pose. So placing the forehead on the mat, walking the hands out in front, allowing the arms to hang from the shoulders. Taking deep breaths here. You might like to gently move the upper body left and right as it settles between the hips. Sinking a little deeper. Feeling the mat beneath the fingertips. Feeling the body's points of contact on the mat, really grounding yourself to where you are. Feeling anchored to this spot. One more breath here. And then inhaling back up to tabletop. Bringing the knees back in hip width apart. Tucking the toes, lift the hips up to the ceiling into downward dog. Bending through the knees, looking towards the hands. We're going to jump or step forward here. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Bending through the knees, inhaling the hands up to the ceiling, palms together and lowering down to the heart center. Releasing your hands, rolling the shoulders and finding mountain pose. So feet hip width apart, shoulder blades down the back, hands down by your sides, taking up space, feeling confident, feeling balanced. So if you like to here, you can close your eyes and you can feel the body as it finds its own balance on 2 feet. And then opening your eyes, we're going to find our balance on our left foot, taking our right foot either to our ankle, to our calf, or to our inner thigh. You can take your hands out to find your balance, or you can use a wall if you need to. We're going to bend through the elbows, lifting our hands up into cactus and squeeze our shoulder blades together. Taking a breath, starting to feel the left ankle as it stabilizes the body. So from here, you can take the hands to the heart center, and then you can raise them up and over the head into tree pose. Really grounding through that left foot. Imagining the energy traveling all the way down to the earth's core, anchoring you to this spot. Keeping you grounded, keeping you safe. Releasing the hands, placing the foot back onto the mat. Turning to the short angle. Inhaling the hands up to the ceiling and exhale, folding forward. Placing the hands on the mat. Bending through the knees, jumping or stepping back into plank. Spreading the fingertips nice and wide. You have the option here to bend the knees, placing the knees on the mat. We're going to go from the top of the push-up to the bottom, and then we're going to straighten through the arms, drop the hips into cobra. Tucking the toes, lift the hips up to the ceiling into downward dog. Bending through the knees, jumping or stepping forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Bending through the knees, inhaling the hands up to the ceiling, palms together and lowering down to the heart center. Once again, finding mountain pose. Finding your confidence, finding your stability on 2 feet. Anchoring the body to the earth. And then finding your balance on your right foot. Taking the left foot to the ankle, the calf, or the inner thigh. Finding your balance, you can take your arms out to either side or you can hold onto the wall. Bending through the elbows, squeezing the shoulder blades together with cactus arms. Again, feeling now the right foot anchored to the earth. Placing the hands together at the heart center and then reaching up over the head. Feeling the body as it sways gently as you find your balance. Like a tree in the breeze. Feeling the body in its balance. Noticing what it feels like to stabilize. And then releasing the hands, placing the left foot back onto the mat. Gently shaking through the legs, finding the top of the mat. Inhaling the hands up to the ceiling. Exhale, folding forward. Bending through the knees, jumping or stepping back into plank. Feeling the arms support the upper body. Option to drop to the knees as we bend through the elbows to the bottom of the push-up. And then straightening through the arms as we drop the hips down to the mat into cobra. Taking a breath here. And then sitting back into child's pose. So to deepen the stretch here, take the knees out nice and wide, dropping the upper body forward. Allowing the chest to melt down towards the mat. Spreading the fingertips nice and wide. Feeling the textures beneath them. Pressing into the fingertips, lifting the head. We're going to take the right hand, sliding it underneath the left, dropping the right shoulder down to the mat. Placing the head on the mat as well, stretching through the shoulder. Taking a breath here, allowing the body to collapse in this pose. Starting to observe the connection you have with your body. Observing the temperature of the toes. Your clothing against your skin. The rhythm of your breath. Pressing into the left fingertips, sliding the right hand back out in front. And then taking the left hand underneath the right, dropping the shoulder and the head down to the mat. Taking some deep breaths in, allowing the body to melt. Allowing the body to surrender. Feeling the stretch through the hips, through the shoulder. Pressing into the right fingertips, sliding the left hand back out in front, and then walking the hands back in, coming up into tabletop. Crossing the ankles, we're going to sit back onto our sit bones with our legs folded in front. So sitting up nice and tall, we're going to gently roll the shoulders up to the ears and down the back. Taking in some deep breaths. And then inhaling the hands up to the ceiling. Twisting to the left, taking the right hand on the left knee, the left hand behind the body and twisting. Feeling the twist through the spine and the restriction in the breath. And then inhaling the hands and torso back to center. Twisting to the right, taking the left hand on the right knee, the right hand behind the body. Lifting up through the chest. Inhaling the hands back up to the ceiling and exhale, folding forward. Dropping the elbows down to the mat.
allowing the chin to drop to the chest. And then slowly walking the hands back to the legs, lifting up, taking the hands together at the heart center. Taking a breath and list 3 things that you are grateful for today. Allowing gratitude to flood the heart space, to consume the whole body. Relisting those 3 things once more in your head. And thank you for joining me today on the mat. Namaste.